Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Body Mind Healing. My name is Maria Sanchez. I am a holistic health consultant, a family nurse practitioner, a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, and a doctor in nursing practice. The case for today is fear, the shadow beneath the mind. Suffering rarely starts where we imagine it does. We point to the argument, the heartbreak, the job loss, or the diagnosis as the source. Yet, if we look deeper, these events are often only the visible layer of something more complex. Beneath the surface lies fear, a quiet but persistent energy shaping how we see and respond to life long before anything occurs. Fear is not simply a transitory emotion. It can become an atmosphere within us. It colors perception, steers our choices, affects our relationships, and even distorts our sense of the sacred. When fear governs the inner world, we stop merely feeling afraid. We begin living afraid. Every moment becomes a calculation about safety. How can this go wrong? How do I protect myself? And since complete safety is an illusion, tension never truly leaves. Even on calm days, fear sustains the habit of suffering. At its deepest level, fear is rarely about specific objects or events. It is the vague sense that life itself cannot be trusted, that existence is conditional, love must be earned, and death is an ending rather than a transformation. From that one root, many bitter fruits grow: worry, jealousy, greed, resentment, guilt, shame, envy, and the endless impulse to prove or defend oneself. Within each person lives an image, a hungry self eager to be acknowledged, admired, and preserved. It wants control over uncertainty. It builds identity from appearance, achievement, comparison, and possession. But because these building blocks shift constantly, the I they create is fragile, confident one moment and shaken the next. This instability forms a low hum of anxiety in the background of life. Even without external threats, the mind stays alert, predicting harm, replaying pain, guarding against loss. When fear governs this inner climate, the heart ceases to move freely. It braces instead of opening. It patrols itself rather than expresses it. Fear becomes the ego's ongoing weather pattern, and suffering naturally blooms beneath its clouds. What is interesting is that fear seems to have two faces. Yes, not all fear is the same. To see it clearly, we must distinguish between the biological and the psychological fear. Natural fear is the body's immediate intelligence. A car drifts into our lane, so we steer sharply. A flame flares near hand, so we pull back. This instinct protects life and quickly subsides once the danger passes. Psychological fear, on the other hand, lives in memory and imagination. It protects into the future and spins stories about what might happen. The body reacts as though the imagined scenarios were real, keeping stress alive without a tangible threat to address. Natural fear helps us survive the moment, but psychological fear traps us in a loop of anticipation, a hall of mirrors made from if and what if. Among all mental fears, three hold particular power because they touch the soul's roots. They are fear of death, punishment, and of the sacred. A fear of death, most forms of anxiety trace back to the dread of disappearance. Behind worries about rejection, failure, or change lies a whisper: I could cease to exist. The ego experiences many ordinary losses as symbolic death and defends itself with intensity far greater than the situation warrants. Fear of punishment, when suffering feels deserved, life turns into a trial. Every mistake carries a shadow of guilt. Joy feels suspicious as though happiness invites retribution. In this atmosphere, relationships suffer. Love becomes a test instead of a refuge. Fear of the sacred, when the divine is imagined as angry, distant, or judgmental, spirituality becomes another cage. The heart might reach upward but shrinks at the same time. Devotion turns to bargaining. Hope becomes compliance. The very source that could heal instead feels dangerous. Together, these fears of death, punishment, and divine rejection form a web that binds the spirit. They keep the mind tense, the heart armored, and soul afraid to trust existence. But we can always make a conscious decision to observe fear through our soul's eyes. In other words, a deeper awareness views fear not as an enemy, but as a signal. It tells us the self has contracted, separated from presence, love, and truth. Fear says, I stand alone and must defend myself against life. Love answers, you belong, and life can be met without resistance. Healing fear does not come from combat. Fighting fear reinforces the illusion of danger. The remedy begins with recognition. See it, feel it, but do not obey it. The moment fear is witnessed without resistance, space opens between awareness and emotion, and within that space, freedom begins. Love. Love is far more than warmth or sentiment. It is expansion, the relaxation of the grip that fear maintains. It shifts us from control to trust, from separation to connection. Love quiets fear, not by arguing with it, but by rendering it irrelevant. To disarm fear, name it clearly, return to the moment, anchored in the body, stop resisting reality, and act with love's courage. In other words, name it clearly, acknowledge, fear is here. Naming creates distance. Return to the moment. Ask, what is required of me right now? Anchored in the body, feel sensation directly. Let the nervous system release the story. Stop resisting reality. Meet what is before trying to fix it. Act with love's courage. Love can take the form of honesty, forgiveness, healthy boundaries, or stillness. Whatever that fear is requiring to be treated with. Love always loosens the chains of fear. In summary, we can say that fear builds walls. Love opens doors. Where fear divides, love reunites. To live in love is to stop negotiating with life, to meet it as it comes, with presence instead of defense. When the heart trusts its belonging, suffering fades and freedom returns quietly, like sunlight after a long storm. And let's not forget that healing is returning to ourselves again and again. Until next time.